Back to another episode of Tapp'd In. I'm one half of your host, Brandon Walton.
I'm the other half, Corey Wolf. What's up with it? Mouth of the South. Y'all know what time it is.
Mouth of the South, man.
You already know.
Hey, we got two guests with us today. We got my boy Banks right here. He gonna come and drop some knowledge on us. And we got philanthropist, wealth builder.
You already know it.
Life coach. World traveler, Mr. Hussain Abdullah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What else I leave out, man? I know there's some more stuff on there.
That's good. Just also, I know we had the book.
Author, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Get the book, Fear.
Both of my
Fear,
boys,
you know
authors over here.
There we go. You know what I'm saying? Y'all already know. Don't think like me, just think. Y'all check out the book,
camera,
man.
Yeah.
Y'all make sure y'all go get these books, man. Both of these books right here is going to drop something on y'all. It's going to make you think about some things, man, because the whole thing is how we change our mindset. So y'all check out the books, man. Go on Amazon.com and they there.
Yeah. I like what you did with that fear with the acronym. Forget everything and reset.
Oh, I like how you did that too.
In my life, in my 30s, that's really been like the main thing is forgetting everything that I've been taught, learning that it was bullshit,
right,
and starting over. And that's really hard because it's like ingrained in you. Your parents taught you that. Your grandparents taught you that.
Right.
Then somebody walk up and be like, nah, bro, that's wrong. You be like, man, that ain't wrong. My grandmama told me that.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's been a struggle for me.
It's a fight for the people who like, especially like the older generation.
For sure.
You know
they
what I'm saying?
Because
everything that was really passed down to us came from a slave mentality. So, you know, it's like we getting that. They got fed the wrong stuff and now they feeding it to us. And now we got to be the ones to change it. We got to change it around.
It's got to be us because we the age of technology. We got all the resources to find out the truth like that.
You know what used to get me? How our parents could take and send us to school to people that hung us on trees, castrated us, and thinking that they would teach us correctly and give us the right information.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. And then I seen school when I came from Korea to California and I got in the school system. And when I came here, it was a lot of hostility, but I didn't understand where this hostility was coming from. You know,
you mean towards you because you were mixed Korean or just in America?
In America, period.
Okay.
And I didn't know where it stemmed from.
Yeah.
And the brother man was like angry. Everyone was angry, frustrated. You know what I'm saying? And it was just, I didn't understand until I talked to my grandmother, and then I started seeing Mississippi burning, and my eyes started opening to the other half of me. You know, in Korea, they don't do that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's harmony. So here is hostility, but I wanted to know why. And then what really confused me, because when I first came to the United States, I was Buddhist. So I got inducted into Southern Baptist. And then so I'm in an all-black church with brothers and sisters, and this humongous wooden statue of this European Caucasian guy just hanging over, and he's bleeding, and then the story and the indoctrination about he died for our sins. And then we leave the church, and then I see a brother, he's in the street and he's drunk and he's high, and the policeman hits him with the car and slams him down. And this is the same depiction that I'm seeing on the cross. These are white people.
Are you like, he looked like him?
Yeah, he looked like him. And then I'm like looking, and then, you know, we start reading the Bible and talking about we make up the body of Jesus Christ, and you have to take your burdens. Why do we have to take burdens, and why do we have to make up the body of Jesus Christ? And I kind of got that concept. I was like, man, so basically, if Johnny, the white boy over here, he go and steal some gum, he gonna get probation, and we do the same thing. We get life.
20 years.
20 years, and there's no second chance because that's just how the system is. They put their foot on your neck. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's still slavery.
There's so much to. I'm gonna try to respond.
A lot to unpack.
Because that's pretty deep. Like just where he went with that period.
He hit me left.
He went left with it, but I mean, it's still conducive to what's going on today, but it's just in a different way.
Y'all this way, and then y'all projecting that onto me and each other, and I'm like, what? Like, but what is going on?
Think of it like this. So let's start with mindset.
Okay.
And also something beat you funny because he started philanthropy. Like one of the things for people who don't know me, I'm a retired public school teacher.
Right.
So I taught math. I worked for the New York City Department of Education for 14 years.
Right.
So I'll give you some game. Like, I was an administrator before I left.
Okay.
So I started seeing all types of politics. Like, the mayor would call a meeting, all the principals would go. So, like, I got to see real, like, the official politics of how schools work.
Right.
That's just a segue into where I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to ask a very simple question. Why is school 12 years?
Ooh, that's deep, though.
Why 12? 12 being, in my educated guess, is 12 is rulership. Like a rules, guidelines, formats. So they're indoctrinating. To where I see school is from preschool to 12th grade. You're going to be a slave. They're inducting you to be a slave. You're not going to learn how to gain generational wealth. You're learning how to go flip a taco
and work for somebody else. Yeah, be an employee.
It's servitude.
I heard it was all set up by the Rothschilds.
Yeah, it's servitude.
Right.
Before, like, even, like, just because
so does it take 12? So basically, it takes 12 years to get your mind programmed.
Indoctrination.
Right.
That's right. It's gonna take 12 years.
So that's why it's 12. It's not 12 years because it's arbitrary.
Right.
Think about this. What did you learn in junior high school? What did you learn in high school? You got your second language.
Right.
You learned the same second language too.
Yeah.
What did you learn K to 12 for history? It was the same stuff, and February is Black History Month. Yeah. You get the same stuff over and over. The only thing that builds up is math, and after 10th grade, you don't even have to take math unless you want to go a grade above. Right. The same science that you learn in 6th, 7th, 8th grade, geology, earth science. Right. It's the same stuff. So couldn't we end school in the 8th grade?
Oh, wow, that's pretty deep. Thinking about it like that.
Back in the day, that's where it was before Rockefeller changed it. It did in the 8th because they went to work after that.
So, that's why the school system. That's why you read
a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
That's why you have summer vacation, because the children had to be, because you had to reap and sow. It was a farming culture. Right. So So that kind of just I see where we're going tonight. This is good, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, this is what I came for.
Well,
man, if I don't make it home,
you know what I'm saying.
This is gonna the black bags are gonna come. Right.
Let's get it.
Let's just flip houses. I don't want no problem.
Yeah. So now we understand. So now we understand mindset. Now we understand why we're this way, and we understand. Anyway, I'm going to respond to your petty. I'm going to respond to what Banks said.
Let's get it. Let's get the response, man.
To what Banks said.
Let's get this.
And then go back and say, well, why? Because you got like the 13th Amendment.
Right.
So what happens is you have people who were enslaved, and then they were no longer enslaved. And then if you go with the facts, as opposed to what school says, like, Lincoln didn't free the slaves because he loved black people.
Right. No, it was for the Union.
Yeah, and he needed to win.
Yeah, it was for the Union.
And so what they did is they found a way.
He never signed a proclamation.
Emancipation. This is what I'm gonna try to do. Right. Just because no, because here goes what happens. If we gotta stay in the middle.
Yeah.
Right? Because if we go too far, right, they'll try to discount everything.
That's what I'm trying to say. We gotta keep it.
That's debatable.
Let's
I just said
agreement, but I know you know.
Right, exactly.
But we're talking about the Emancipation Proclamation.
So there's things that we can talk about facts.
Let's just point out the facts.
Right. So what happens is we know that we'll just take like military science, military psychology.
Right.
Strategy.
There are generations of practices and there are generations of results. So all that's happening is these things are becoming more and more efficient.
Right.
So there's a reason why, what we were able to do 20, 30 years ago, 4 or 5 generations ago, we're not able to do now. And why all the kids now are with their heads down in the book. And why this and that and all these things have changed.
Right.
I mean, we could talk. Like, you could take it from music to movies and all these things, but
like
our kids are so desensitized, and so to bring it kind of full circle, is that this mindset, this programming, is done because our society. Even, we're not gonna make it like, unless y'all really want to go there, but like Illuminati, we're not. We could just say
the powers that be
from a practical standpoint.
Yeah.
Our society, our economy can't run without workers.
It can't.
So if everybody was leaders, everybody was bosses, everybody
was census,
then this structure would fall.
It sure would. It would.
So I try to. Who would I be? I'd be like what? Envy, because I'm trying to be the last guy. Level-headed.
So let me ask you something. While you were working in that system, did you have that knowledge then of what you were really inside of, or were you like, I'm a teacher, I'm making a difference?
Dope question, bro.
Yeah.
Some people start like that and they get in it like, damn, I ain't know it was like
Yeah.
For real, like, right?
I was the one of the people that I'm gonna change it. My kids gonna be the ones. But you gotta remember, I'm raised Hussain Abdullah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like I'm already, I'm
you
Puerto
already got a
Rican. You know
little
what I'm saying?
something. You already got
like
a
I'm
little
already
something.
like
Right.
like if we talking about the fear acronym, you know that comes from mathematics. For those of y'all who know what that is.
Okay.
So everything
Supreme
we
mathematics.
right, the 120.
Okay.
So
Here we go.
So we can speak a
I
whole
already know
other
what it
language,
do.
and the people who need to know what's what.
Okay,
So like
I wasn't prepared.
So I'm from that. You know what I'm saying? So all of this stuff is always
I
gonna be.
too am from that.
right.
Hey, Tay, he
Peace and
dropped it
blessings
down
be
on
to
me.
Noble
I got my supreme mathematics
Right.
from Banks.
So
You know
what
what I'm saying?
happens?
He gave me the supreme mathematics.
So I'm going in kind of with that mindset, and I already understand what I'm, because I'm also a product of
Going
that.
in as a god.
Right.
That's how we live. We
tattoo
gods,
out
bro.
here.
Yeah,
we gods, bro.
Psalm 82 verse 6. Yeah, oh God, that's tattooed on me. So I'm instantly, I'll bring it back.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to, again, set the tone for the right audience.
I got you.
So, there's layers to this. So what happens is, when I started moving up the chain and I started becoming more of an administrator and I was getting my licensure and I was getting ready to become a principal,
Right.
I'm going to these meetings and I start coaching. This is what I start to notice. And these are facts. These are things you could look up. And it's still in practice today. There was something called like a triple threat. What's a triple threat? A triple threat is a minority girl with an IEP. What does that mean? So, again, minority, right? Not white. Female, okay, and an IEP, somebody who's in special ed, which special ed is not a place; it's a designation. But what would happen is, let's say you have an IEP because of medical, so like you're diabetic.
Right. Okay.
You're still special education. People don't know that gifted students are special education. Anything outside of Gen Pop is special education.
Right.
Can I say something?
Right. Let me run my point. So what I'm saying, right? Everything's a spectrum. So what happens is, because you have to test into GNT, you have to test into a smaller restriction. It is a special education. So what happens is, I will go to schools and they'll be like, man, the school, is passing 25% of their kids. All right, bet. I would train the staff. I would work with small groups. I would give strategies. This is what I did as a math coach.
Right.
But then I would meet with the principal, and they had to meet AYP, adequate yearly progress. So what happens is, and this is in New York, the principals would get a $50,000 check if the kids made progress. And then the school would also get a $50,000 check, so that means they could hire another teacher, buy more books or whatever. So now peep game. I'm in it for my extra $50K if you look at it like that.
Yeah.
300 kids is failing. If we move those 12 kids from a 3 to a 4, from a 2 to a 3, we're gonna get more bang for our buck. So let's find the kids that we can move from 2s to 3s.
Yeah.
This kid's a little. Let's put him in special ed. They put him in special ed because now you got an IEP. You move an IEP kid, you get extra credit. And then so what happens is,
it brings that balance back up, so y'all can get that money.
No. But you're missing the point. They didn't care about the school. They didn't care about the kids.
Right.
They cared about getting their check.
Right.
That's what I'm
So
saying.
they were focusing on small
Right.
things, and I'm like, yo, y'all don't really care about the kids.
Right.
You care. So I'm like cooking books. So like kids are reading 2-3 years behind. But if I could show that 80% of this subgroup moved for when they did a quality review, everybody get their money.
So that's really what it means. Let me say something, man. I don't want to cut your knowledge because I know you finna drop some jewelry. But I gotta say this. I gotta say this, man, because this is a question. I always ask this in my book. I talk about credentials.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you how you feel about this, man. They say, in this Europeanized state, they say, well, your credentials is you go get a PhD, you get whatever, you get this education, whatever. That's going to qualify you. That's going to be your credential. Looking at it from that standpoint, okay, that's your credentials. I can show you on paper this is what it is. But I believe in a spiritual sense, your credential is your gift. You know what I'm saying? Now, I feel like whatever God put in you, because you can go to school and learn whatever you want to learn, but you might not be good at it.
Right.
And the reason you're not good at it because it wasn't a gift.
And still have
now, what would you say? What would you agree to that? How would you?
Sure,
what do you feel about
I
that?
agree to that, and then I'm gonna chill and I'm gonna let Banks drop his point. So what happens is, we was talking about this the other night. So like, let's say tattoos. Like everybody here got a tattoo.
Right.
Pretty much, right?
No.
Almost 80% of the room got tattoos. right.
Right.
So what happens is, there's two type of tattooers. There's a technician. That's somebody who knows how to use the needle, nice.
Right.
But it's just like, it's like a stencil, like.
Yeah.
And then you got some people that's nasty
Yeah,
artists, and then that's the medium that they choose. And I think that speaks to what you're saying.
Right.
I worked with a bunch of teachers who went because they thought they were going to make a difference. I went with some people because they were failed anything, right? Like, but they just had a 4-year degree, and we all know it's mad. Anybody will take any teacher as long as you don't have a.
Right.
So, and then there were some people who were working towards it, but they really just had, you said, like they had that thing, the intangible, the spiritual piece, something that you can't put your finger on, but it passes the smell test. 1,000%, and I think you see that in a lot of things. That's like the thing with like talent, like in sports or in music. It's like, damn, if she could just naturally sing. Now maybe they don't blow up because they don't have the work ethic or they don't have the connections. That's something different. But I do believe that there's God-given talent in everything in life.
And now I apply that to credentials. So I like the way you answer that, but that's how I apply. That's your true credential, because you got to remember everything. Now they tell you, like, if a person gets this math question right, but they don't do it the same way they say do it, where they write it out on the board, they say it's wrong. But how can you say that's wrong when that's the way I was gifted to answer? I got the same answer.
Right.
So now you're making a kid feel inadequate when really they do have the education. They just got a different way of going about getting the answer.
Banks,
so that's the same thing with credentials.
Because I would like to respond to that.
Yeah.
No, I wanted to ask a question about the system. Okay. You was talking about how y'all was getting the money. So basically, they're funneling. Like, but the money is just not for the school; it's for the city.
Sure.
Because it's all of. That's why it's called KISD.
Right.
Lean or New York or Brooklyn.
Right.
So these is appropriated funds that's given from the government, and then it's funneled out of the school, which is supposed to be the taxpayers' money, right?
Right.
Which we pay. Thinking that our children don't get adequate education to educate themselves, right? But see, my father was a Black Panther.
Okay.
So, like, I was already educated.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I played dumb, but the whole time I'm using my 3 L's. I'm listening, and learning.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm standing on my 45. You know what I'm saying? I'm peeping the scene, and I'm not saying nothing because I'm learning. I'm learning because I'm from a whole different. I'm from third world country, so I'm trying to. So basically, how I learned how to talk was chameleon and emulate and imitate. I didn't mean to come out this way, but everybody's hostile, so I started busting niggas in the head, stabbing niggas, and I'm like, I'm trying to survive. Like, ain't no more ass whoopings. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm defending myself. Now I'm the bad guy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm the bad guy. So now, like, the system, this is how I do it. Okay, if you're not part of, you're not in a band, you're not a photographer, you ain't running track, you ain't playing football, right? You're not with the system, right? You're not with it, right? So you're an outcast. You're not doing anything. So they're looking at you. Okay, what is he gonna do? So they come to you like, you take wood shop or home ec. You don't do that. So next thing you know, they're getting on you. Start talking their history. And you start telling facts, and the next thing you got D-Hall. And then from D-Hall, you got Saturday Sack. Then Saturday Sack, you got OCP, on-campus placement.
Yeah, I remember all that
Then you
stuff.
got alternative.
I remember that.
Because there's no alternative. It's no
I
alternative.
know, that's basically like when you got to stay after school.
Yeah.
It's everything he's saying is detention.
Look,
It's just different names they have.
There's an alternative school. Because there's no alternative but to turn you into a criminal because you're not part of the system. And then that's how we all get turned out. And then look, most of the jocks, most of the people that played, they went to college, they didn't get to go to college, right? Or they went to college and then they make it through to the NFL. What happens to them? They turn into drug dealers or bouncers. And who do they sell a coat for? Huh? Yeah. My homeboy, Darren Washington, he tore his ACL. Next thing you know, he got the chronic. You know what I'm saying? Where do you get the chronic from? You know what I'm saying? So I know how this thing works. So once you go from the alternative, then you go to detention, and then from detention they make you a criminal. But they already was going to because they put you in special ed, or honors class, and they already that's the money generated. They generate the money.
In a way, it's like from what I'm gathering, what you're saying is like they generate money either way it go.
No,
They gonna
it's
generate money either way it go.
The security interest is the individual.
I get that, but what I'm saying is they already dividing you and separating you from other people at the same time. They already putting you in a different class in that moment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What was that called from the episode with Jay? The caste system.
The caste system.
That's what it
It's
is.
a caste
You already
system.
pre-placed where he
There
wants
you
to
go.
be.
Like
It's a caste system.
people misunderstand. He knows what this is.
Yeah.
Like, I would never call them white. They're not white. They're not white.
What do you call them?
Europeans, Caucasians, Edomites. That's what they are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Trace
But
it
we
back in
wasn't
the Bible.
called
No,
black
listen,
either if
you
we're
know-
going down that path.
Yeah,
No,
Africans
because-
in Africa. If
They
we
got
want
to go
That's
back
true.
to what he was saying earlier when he
Yeah.
was talking about that you're a minority. Do you even know what minority means?
Yeah, I don't even.
Listen, no,
You
let
don't
me
even know
let that's in here. I got it
You
in
know
my
what
book. I'm
minority
talking
is?
about it.
I don't even.
It means infantile of mind.
I don't even
that you
address
was a ward of a
minority.
state.
You're a
Did you know
minor.
that you go
You're
to
a
school?
minor, bro.
Yeah.
Did you not know that we're wards of the state? You went and did all this school, but you still a ward of the state, and they get money from you,
Yeah.
and you don't even know nothing about that.
So
Yeah.
so to go back to your point, so if you want to keep it like, so there was a thing called Common Core.
Right.
So here goes the idea of Common Core, and I know Common Core got a bad rap because it was like it was money. So what happens is all Common Core is 50 states, and everybody wasn't on the same page. Hawaii has the worst school system in the Hawaii schools are, not that they're bad, they're just the kids are not, they don't come out as good as like
Right.
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But and that's okay. Hawaii's a dope place to live. I'm not saying that about Hawaii, but I'm saying. All right,
So they going through it right now,
Right,
though.
so let me
That
see. Yeah,
fire.
right. So
Oh,
let's say
man.
this. Let's say
Not
this.
the people that,
Right.
not the people from Hawaii because
They're shit.
it's so listen.
Right.
It's so high and the cost of living is so high that your Tongans and they move here to L.A., to Utah, Dallas, and Fort Worth. They're not over there.
Right,
That's
so-
why it's getting burnt up.
Okay, let him finish.
So here goes what I'm saying. When you go back to credibility, then you're talking about who sets the standard.
Right.
So now if this, because like, you know, like my wife lived in Hawaii for like 3 or 4 years. They would have fresh pineapple. It had the quality of life. They'd get an extra hour out of the day to just go chill.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they cared about the whole child and they cared about, you know, being aloha and they cared about all these things. But the standard is test scores and this and that. So by that standard, they're the worst. Right?
Oh,
Okay.
So,
Got you.
so let's make it
Yeah.
because I'm not shitting on Hawaii. I'm just saying
Yeah,
based
right.
on like so and like AYP, right? Based
Okay.
on how the kids perform.
Right.
You go to New York, the kids are higher. Like Mississippi, Texas, the kids are a little bit slower. So then the conversation is like, let's take a military kid. If my child came from New York and then went to Texas, he might be ahead. But if my kid came from Texas and went to New York, he'd be behind, and then there's a problem. So the idea was to have a common core.
Can I say
And-
something?
hold on one second, bro. Hold on one second.
Hold on.
So everything was to be even, and that's all the conversation really was supposed to be.
Right.
What happened was a place like California rolled it out properly. What they did was they said, all right, since standards are changing, we're not going to hold 10, 11, 12th grade to these standards because they didn't come up through the system. We're going to
Right.
start in kindergarten, and then year 2, it's K1. Year 2, it's K1, 2. A place like New York was like, everybody's accountable. So I'm like, dude, I'm in 9th grade. Like I didn't learn this.
Yeah.
So then that's where the friction came. So I'll bring it back again full circle.
This was in place while we was in school.
No, this is
was
what our
after
kids
us.
are dealing with.
Okay.
Oh,
Common
damn,
Core.
bro.
Right
Common
now.
Core came out about that's like pre-Obama,
Okay.
like Obama
Okay,
time, like around like.
okay.
Because I heard it, but I don't remember when it
Yeah,
popped up.
yeah. So this is to go back to your question. So you talking about like how could we all have different answers? So that's what I taught. I taught that, and let's do a little math conversation. What's
He about to hit us with the math.
Yeah, watch this.
Hey, ask that nigga. Don't ask me. Don't ask me nothing about no math, nigga.
Hussain is.
Yeah, let him do the mathematician
Call me the
shit.
math man, but
Yeah.
check this out.
Don't ask me
I make
none
you feel-
about that.
This would be fun. What's 100 minus 99?
Hey, man.
What's 100 minus?
One.
All right, one.
One.
So you didn't go 100, 99, 98.
Yeah.
90. You didn't do that. You probably went, well, I know 99 to 100, there's a space of 1. There's a difference of 1. So in the word problems, what's the difference? Difference just means a matter of space.
Right.
So once you understand that, you don't freeze up, you don't tense up. You wouldn't have done that. So if your explanation was, I added 1, and your teacher goes, no, this is subtraction, that person didn't have a sense of math.
Got you.
So you might do it that way. Brandon might say, bro, you can do that. I counted back.
Yeah.
And then you'd both be correct.
Right.
See, what happens with the logic was as long as what you were saying was sound and logic and you could explain it, then you had an appropriate response.
Yeah,
the key
I'm
was
with
to
that.
get everybody where they were and then get them to the end algorithm and understand it. When you say, oh, I carry 10 or regroup, that's nonsense.
Yeah.
But you have to understand the logic behind it and then so on and so forth. So to answer your question, that happens because 85% of teachers
That's a big
are not
number,
qualified to teach math.
That's a big number,
85%.
A lot of them, they degree don't even be in what they teaching.
That's
Yeah.
what it is, yeah.
So
I
it's
cut a lot of teachers, and they be like, I teach history. I'm like, what's your degree? And they be like,
Liberal
nuclear
arts.
science.
Yeah,
liberal arts.
like,
Yeah.
And he's like, it didn't matter. We just need a bachelor's
Yeah.
degree.
yeah,
They just need
that's
teachers.
it. Yeah, and so now that's okay. Okay when you're in junior high school and high school when you're teaching one subject, but in elementary school when you're a master of all subjects and you can't pass the 6th grade math. So what happens is when you teach elementary school, it's called like general, like a liberal arts degree.
Right.
So your core is you take 10 courses, 2 science, 2 literature, 2 1 math, 1 physical ed. So you could kind of teach 1 art. So you can teach everything.
Yeah.
So you're not a master of any of them.
Right.
You have to really understand math to teach math.
Right. For sure.
Reading, you can get a pass. 'Cause
Yeah.
Eventually they'll read. Writing,
Yeah.
eventually
Kill
they'll
that
write.
reading. I'm gonna
You
kill that
can't
reading.
think-
It's
you
just
can't-
math.
They-
You're not lying though, 'cause
Math,
that's the
bro.
path I took when I went to college. My dad, it wasn't a choice to go to college. He's like, you're going to college.
Right.
So I was like, I didn't really have a passion for school. So I was like, well, let me pick the easiest one. It's kind of broad in general.
Right.
I'm gonna pick liberal arts. Like English, writing. It's already stuff I do. I don't want to do math. I wasn't into science, and I didn't like learning their history. So it was like, I went to liberal arts.
Right.
And that's high school all over again.
Yeah.
It's the same classes.
You see,
Write an
just
essay.
constant repeat.
Write an
Constant
essay.
And then we're
repeat.
gonna excuse me, and we're gonna put you in debt for it.
Yeah. That
so,
for that
so
part
now
for
you're
sure.
really a part
I
of
didn't
the
get out of
system.
debt until 2018.
You know, they say you're not
I went
an
to
American.
college in 04.
You're not an American until you're in debt. That's the saying, like,
I stand by that.
Yeah,
Stamped and
That's a
approved.
corporation, man. It's a business. This
Man.
wanna know how
this
that
country here is a business, bro.
Yeah.
America's a big business. It's a corporation, man.
Yeah.
So any kind of way they can get you in
Yeah,
there to make
literally,
money, they
that's-
gonna do
that's
it,
what
bro.
that's what 1933 was about.
literally, America literally is. That's. I mean, you said you wanted to add something.
Yeah, I want to know about when you're in there and you're the principal, right?
Yeah.
What y'all do with them Social Security numbers?
Oh, I don't even know. I could tell you.
You
this.
might not want to say, but
you
tell
want,
me off
if you
camera.
want some dirt, like some dirt on.
Give us some tea.
So
Some New York tea.
like bank. No, this is federal. Like
Okay.
Bank said, money comes from the feds. Then money goes through the states. Then it funnels down to the county or the city.
Right.
So the principal gets a budget. And just like with grants and just like everything else, if
Right.
you don't use it, you lose it.
Right.
And you got to show where you're going to spend your money. So, like when George Bush created No Child Left Behind, what he did, which preceded Common Core, was he penalized schools for being bad. So he took their money and he rewarded schools for
That were
being
doing good.
And he
Wow.
gave them more money. So check this out. So my daughter, like we in Brooklyn, the New York City public school is the biggest school district ever. Like
Right.
there's 2 million kids in it. That's more than most states.
Yeah, that's pretty
And
big,
that's
bro.
one district, right?
That's a lot,
one
bro.
district, right?
That's a
So
lot.
where we lived in Brooklyn, like I lived downtown Brooklyn, my daughter's school, her elementary school had a swimming pool. Let me tell you who my neighbors were. Robert De Niro, Heath Ledger lived up the street from us. Spike Lee's father still lives there. You know what I'm saying? Like, so my PTA dues, like we had to kick in, was based on the percentage of money you made. My PTA dues was $1,200.
Yeah.
The schools that I worked in let's say a poor part of town,
Right.
they couldn't get 50% of the parents to pay $5 PTA dues. So
Damn,
now,
dog.
so now what happens when the school goes, "Hey, we just got $100,000 budget cut." One parent goes, "Yo, what you need?" The class that my daughter was in, her tech lab had brand new Macs because one of the fathers had a big law firm. He donated his Macs to the school so he can get updated Macs. So my daughter had a brand new Mac when she was in 3rd grade. The schools I was working in didn't even have computers because they didn't have the budget. So now, how is a kid that goes to that school gonna compete with my daughter? Every summer, my daughter's on vacation.
Right.
Every after school, she's in enrichment. She's been in karate. She's
Right.
been in gymnastics. She has me.
Right.
I'm a college level. Her mom's college masters and plus. She goes to school with 30 million words. She's competing with somebody who's a teenage mom who's 4 generations in no school who knows 70,000 words going to school. She can't compete.
Right.
Who needs more help?
Right.
But so that's one of the ways that the disparity was made, and then it perpetuates that cycle.
Right.
So there are a lot of, and these are fact. You could Google
that,
"No Child Left Behind." So like, this is not a conspiracy. This is not a lie.
Yeah.
These are facts.
This is facts.
So I want to keep it to the simple. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to know how that
you
goes,
want to look it up. Yeah, it's there.
They look, and then that's why some schools would be like, "Yo, we're gonna get more special education." So they give kids IEPs because back in the days, the numbers probably changed, especially with inflation. A regular student would get 35,000, but a student with an IEP would get 55,000.
Right.
Because they need more teachers. So they be like, "Yo, we're gonna get more kids with IEPs, so we can get more staff." Because if you have more staff, you can have more teachers. You have a smaller classroom size. It's known that if you have 30 kids in the class, you have 20 kids in the class. Who's gonna do better?
Yeah, 20.
Because you get more attention.
Yeah,
so
one
and then the world turns.
But that falls under the point that we speaking on really overall is uplifting humanity, because it start with the kids anyway. And then when you in your home, that's why you gotta really pretty much give your kids the education, that real education they need, so they'll be ready for what the world's throwing at them. And the problem now is you got so many young generation mothers, like the grandmas, they out there popping it in the club with the daughters. You know what I'm saying? Because they young too. So it's like we got to get back to where we're starting to govern those type of situations as a whole. You know what I'm saying? Because if I ain't educating you, I can't educate you if I ain't educating myself. So we have to get back to that point so the kids will really see a better way. That's why a lot of them lost right now in the streets.
I'd be honest because I didn't want to.
I was gonna ask you about at what point in your career did you start getting that knowledge and the light switch went off? Because you said you did 14 years. Was it in the beginning, middle, or end?
So I had 4 different stages of my career, and at every different stage, the more administrative my roles became, the more I started seeing how dark it was.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I gotta lead a system. So I was ready to lead a system probably 5 to 6 years before I left. And my real estate portfolio started growing.
Right.
Yeah.
So then I started my tutoring company, which there's a story in the book about how I got sued by the city of New York.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So what happens is, as I started, like I said, I'll give you one more story, and this is a fact. Anybody from New York, any principal, they verify this is a fact. Common Core started rolling out at the time as 12 to 1,400 schools. Every principal is invited to a big conference in the city with the mayor, the board, the head of education, all of that. And they go, long story short, yo, we got these books. They're Common Core aligned books.
Right.
You got to buy these. We're going to give you these Common Core aligned math books. We're going to give you these Common Core aligned literacy books.
Okay.
You use them. If you don't use them, you got to pay for the books you want to use. The books were trash. Everybody in the room knew it. So what did a lot of people do? They took the books to keep the people out their room. The people that on paper said, we're not using your curriculum, they got scrutinized. So then if the kids didn't do what they were supposed to do, they said, you failed because you didn't use what we said. So what happened is, I know principals that took the books, put them in the closet, and never opened the door. Yeah. And then said on paper, we're using this, and then did the right thing.
Right.
When I started seeing that all those things were getting done, and this as adults, we know this, no decision that impacts anything is made in America. I can't talk about the rest of the world. I'm talking about America. In America, nothing is ever done for what's good for the group that it's affecting.
Right.
It's always what makes sense for the numbers, and then if it helps people, great.
Yeah.
And when I started seeing that that's what it
Man,
was for
that's real right
children,
there.
I was
That's
like, bro, like, I
real.
can't be a part of this. I felt like a hypocrite. So now, what we have now, mind molders. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really teach kids what they need to know.
Right.
And luckily, I'm in a fortunate enough position where I can afford to do that. And then I do it for free as much as I can.
Right. Yeah.
I took
Shouts
my
out
daughter
to Tony
his
Johnson
class.
too, man.
I took my best friend's daughter to his class too, man. I appreciate that.
Right.
Yeah.
That was the first time she really got to sit down and hear about real estate and taxes and you know how to acquire property. And you know when they left, they was so excited. And I've never seen them excited about learning something because she don't get that from school.
Yeah.
She always called me at school like, man, they told me about Christopher Columbus and stuff, but I remember like what you told me.
Yeah.
And then they was excited because they were seeing, well, for one, how much money you can make doing it. That's all Samara was talking about in the car, like, oh, it was millionaires in there.
You got to lead with that because you got to have the you got to lead that. But
But it got them excited about it. And even last week, she's like, is he doing that next summer? You know what I'm saying? When she come back, she just went back to school. She started back yesterday, sophomore year. So I just wanted to tell you I appreciate what you did. And it was a good class. And I was in there learning stuff too. I was in the back taking notes.
Because that's what I say, man. I'm still trying to learn it.
Yeah.
I got to hustle. You know what I'm saying? I just need to learn more about that.
Yeah.
But, at the same time, I wanted to tell him, like, the stuff you doing, man, you doing some good stuff. Like, shout out to Tony Johnson, man.
For sure.
What he doing for
House
the
of
CEO
Resources.
Youth League and the House of Resources, man. Like, them the type of things that we need to uplift our community. This is the stuff we need to uplift the people, man. And we need to be doing that on a normal basis.
I
man.
volunteered at the House Resources too.
Yeah. Could you tell us a little bit about your
Also
foundation?
donated a large portion to because we can't always necessarily be there. So
that's real.
So we
That's
got
real.
if you get money, then you got to give back.
Right.
If you got time, you got to give time. Like
That's
as
right.
long as you contribute.
Whatever
And
your
shout out to
resources.
Tony. Tony's like
I'm
the
a
super
mentor
hero to
there.
me.
I'm one of the mentors.
Tony's a
man.
hero to me. Like
Yeah.
you getting eggs because you people need to eat. And you sell half to give half away. Like he does a lot. As far as community goes, I think he's way more of a community guy than I am in terms of like giving his time and giving his effort.
Yeah.
But and also shout out Streets Lied to Us. Go check out his book too.
Yeah.
So that's
For
a
sure.
good book.
I should have brought a copy
and when he
in.
wrote that for it. But that being said, we have to understand like what it is. And I think what happens a lot of times is people get in the room and then they only talk about the problem and nobody has a solution or nobody brings a solution or they never get to that part of the conversation and it's like nothing gets done. So when we talk about mindset, we have to understand why we're being watered down. And you could go make it cynical or make it like diabolical, which whatever. But the fact is, even if it's just on the day to day,
Right.
how do we combat that? And one of the things, if we're going to talk about mindset, is like, I'll give you an example. Let's say you're at the shooting range. Never shot a gun. You take a gun, you shoot it, you get a perfect 10. Would you attribute that to luck? It's your first time. Your first shot, boom, you hit a 10.
Yeah.
Is that luck? Is that talent? What is it?
Hereditary DNA.
It could be, sure.
It could be.
DNA.
But
It could be,
with that example, you're thinking about it, right?
Yeah.
So now let's bring it to school. You get in, teacher says, yo, first day of school, pop quiz. I'm just going to assess where you are. You get 100 on the test. What would you say about the test? Would you say, yo, this I got mad lucky, or the test was easy,
Right.
right?
Right.
You wouldn't say, I got 100 because I'm nice in math, I'm smart.
Right.
And the problem problem is we, and when I say we, I don't keep it to black. I'm talking about
everybody.
Americans.
Yeah.
Because of the way we're groomed.
Yeah.
But then so there's a thing, right? Because if you have self-confidence and you get 100 on the test and you get, let's say, like a 70 on the next test, you'll be like, damn, I fucked up. I should have studied.
Right.
You won't be like, yo, that test was crazy hard. You'll blame it on yourself.
Yeah.
But if you don't have self-confidence and you get 100, you be like, yo, thank God the test was easy. You get a 7, you be like, that's about right.
Yeah.
So you won't try harder.
So the perspective of pushing yourself really is believing in yourself a little bit more than I guess we were groomed to do.
And that's why. So if you don't have the answer, you don't have to have the answers. You don't have to be nasty and math. You don't have to be the best writer. You just got to instill that belief in your children.
Right.
When I was young, I mean, maybe it's because my mom was a teacher. Maybe because
Belief or confidence?
both.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, because I think belief breeds confidence.
Yeah.
When I was young, like I said, like with my pops, you know, what he was into, bro, like, they used to call me the golden child. How else am I act?
Yeah.
How else would I act? You know what I'm saying? Like, you spoiled. Why you spoiling him? Look how I act now. There's certain conversations, I move a certain way. You can't tell me nothing. I feel like I'm
If
humble.
I feel like I'm a god, I'm gonna walk like a god. I'm gonna talk like a god.
And then
act
I'm
like
not.
a god.
I'm gonna have different expectations.
Right.
So I do good. I do righteous things. You're supposed to do that, of course. But when you get the reward, or if you get positive things, it's not like, I know some people who tell me, you know, somebody like this. They find $1,000 on the floor. They don't be like, damn, I found $1,000. They be like, man, something bad's about to happen. You be like,
What the fuck?
you just got a blessing. Something bad gotta happen because something good happened to me. You be like, that your life is that fucked up. You know people like that?
Pessimistic.
You know people like that?
Yeah, I know people like that.
I know a lot
They
of
never
people like
talk
that.
positive, man.
Yeah.
Always negative, man.
And that becomes real, because what you see is what you believe is what you do. So if I find $1,000 on the floor, I'm like, yeah, cool.
That was my blessing. That was a range for me. Yeah,
like, okay.
I'm looking around, see if anybody dropped it. I'm out.
That's
So now what am I gonna do with this to pass it on?
Yeah, how you gonna pay it forward?
What am I gonna do?
So
I know it shouldn't stop with me though.
Your energy attracts, bro.
Yeah.
So whatever energy you put out, whatever you give to the universe is gonna get back to you.
That's why you always gotta do the right thing.
That's right.
And whether you want to say, because you know, some people say it's spiritual, some people say it's religious, some people. I just say
it's all energy, bro.
I believe that, but again, to keep it to the center, it could be just probability. I seen you outside. I didn't know who you was. I greeted you. I didn't know you. I greeted you. If you walk into a room with 100 people and you say what's up to everybody, the vibe is probably gonna be cool.
Yeah.
If you walk into a room with 100 people and you ice grill everybody,
Yeah.
the room is probably gonna be off.
It's gonna be
real,
fucked
though.
up.
That's true.
So it is energy, but it can also just be probability.
That's true,
You help
man.
100 people, the odds are when you need help, you're gonna get help.
That's
You
real.
shit on 100 people, the odds are when something comes up,
You gonna get
Look
shit
at you
on, right?
You could make it all work, and that's what logic is, and that's why I studied math.
Yeah.
If it makes sense, it works no matter what you're doing.
Everything mathematical, man.
Always.
So as you escalated through life, I guess mainly through the real estate, how do you maintain being humble and for the people, but also elevating your bank account and your status?
It's hard sometimes. A lot of times it's easy, sometimes hard. Because I say this, and I have like my like Hussainisms. If you're not humble, life will humble you.
Yeah, that's real shit.
I had situations
Real shit.
in the story where it's like I felt like I was on top of the world because that was like what I thought my experience was gonna be like. I thought that's what my peak was gonna be, and then I got humbled because I was like, damn, I thought I was here and I'm here.
Yeah.
So like, there's a story in the book Fear where the first time I got $100,000 check and it was all mine. It was actually like 96.5 or whatever, but I say 100 because it's around. It's like $100,000, right? I still have money in the account, so I had 100 checks, right? I walked to the bank faster than you've ever seen somebody. I was on the train sweating like, yo, do I still have the check? Do I still have the check? I was like nervous because I was so excited to cash this check, right? And when I knew I was getting a check, because I I didn't flip. I sold the property that I had for some time. I had good appreciation, and that's the one I bought with credit cards. So what happens is
We got to hear that story too.
so I'll run it back. So what happens is I have the money spent in my mind so many times because I'm like, yo, what am I gonna do with this money? I know what to do. Like this exact watch was one of the purchases. I got my first BMW. I bought some low stuff like Polo that I couldn't afford when I was in high school. You know, we used to like boost clothes and whatnot. I had a crazy collection, but like not like the Indian head. Like it's in the book to pay like. I spent $1,000 on that sweater to get it, and I never wore it. I wore it one time for that picture, real talk. So I'm like, I refuse to wear it. But anyway, it's like art to me. So like, I spent the money so much, and then like people start, damn, yo, you got an email, you got lead, yo, come here. And so I got brought into a different level of business conversation, and I couldn't do no business because I spent all my money.
You like, damn, I got 8 G's.
That was one of them hard lessons, bro. That was one of them hard lessons, bro. But
right.
To humble you.
most millionaires fail first, though.
Got to.
You know what I'm saying?
Got to, yeah.
They fail. You just can't settle. Like when you got a boss state of mind, you can't.
What's the difference?
Pay for his bot.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy, yeah.
Oh, you said bottom.
Yeah, I was like, yeah.
Taught.
It was both. Yeah, I pay. You know what happens when we mess up with money? I call it a lesson in business school.
Yeah.
So that was like I also forget this all the time. I did end up also still investing in 2 properties with that 100 G's.
Okay.
Right.
But I didn't take
Brooklyn?
Oh no, not in Brooklyn. That's what brought me to Texas. No,
Yeah.
I sold the property in Texas, in New York, and then started buying properties in Houston.
Yeah.
And then that's how this thing exploded.
What type of property did you sell in New York? Then?
A room maybe twice the size of this, and that was like at the time was like 120 bands, and this is like 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
That's because that's how crazy New York real estate is.
Yeah, I know.
So
It's high.
you know what I'm saying?
It's
So
crazy.
yeah,
That was your. I didn't mean to cut you
No, you
off.
good.
That was your first. That was your first lesson when it humbled you. Was there many after that, or you was like, all right, I got the one.
Nah,
I'm good now.
bro. I just got humbled last year. Like I posted stuff like I lost 600 bands, but let me explain how I lost 600 bands.
You said that so calm. I lost 600 bands anyway.
Like 600 bands.
Yeah.
What?
So here goes what happened.
What?
It wasn't like I put up $1 million and only got 400K back.
Yeah.
I never lost money.
Yeah.
When people say I made millions, I lost millions, I'd be like, cat. So let me explain what I say when I lost 600 grand. We had 17 properties here in the Bell County area. I think maybe like Temple or Coryell, but 17 here in Central Texas. We had probably like 1.5, 1.6 million in all of those properties invested, in anticipation of making, let's say, like 2.6, 2.5.
Yeah.
The market shifted. So we had a house, 4204 Ethel. We were supposed to sell it for 245. It sold for 205. So I anticipated making that 40.
Gotcha.
Okay, so I lost 40. Because my next
Gotcha.
play was set up and it didn't go.
Okay.
Then the next property came and I was like, I'm supposed to make 20 here. Damn, I only made 3. I gotta pay investors. I actually lost 5.
Yeah.
So I didn't like lose 600. I came home with profit.
Yeah.
I just didn't make the extra 600.
That you were supposed to make.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't, because I don't lose.
I feel
bread.
better for you.
Like so what happened? I ain't like go shopping. I didn't go on a vacation. But that was also because the way the market was going and I couldn't predict everything. And we didn't know how it was going to stop. Now the market is starting to swing back. Like you see the emails. Now we're starting to get these good deals again because the stuff is catching up. So I didn't like lose money. All my clients, all my investors got their bread. Like I don't think I actually lost because I still was making money.
Yeah.
But anyway, but for tax purposes, I was able to have a few $100,000 loss, which means I just didn't pay taxes. And that's another conversation.
Yeah.
But I didn't like. No, that's a lot of money.
So how do you maintain a positive attitude when you have days like that?
Bro, what's the worst day I could have?
Yeah.
Somebody would kill for that.
Yeah.
You know,
That's real shit right there.
I talked to my wife.
Right there.
I talked to my wife, and shout out to my wife. She'd be like, "Damn, why you saying like that?" Because it's true.
Yeah.
She'd be like, "Damn, tenant, you know what I'm saying? Called the AC broke. I gotta pay $6 bands. I gotta fix the AC." And I'd be like, "You still having a good day, right?"
Yeah.
She'd be like, "You sure is. She don't got a job. I mean, she don't have to go to work. She retired.
Right.
We go on vacation wherever we want.
Right.
We always somewhere.
Yeah.
So who cares?"
Yeah.
And then at the end of the year, it's gonna be a tax write-off anyway.
Right,
She can get the
right.
money back. Like my worst problem, somebody will kill for it. Even if I got sick, God forbid. Even if I got diabetes, there's somebody with diabetes now that a dude with cancer will kill to have diabetes.
Yeah.
But I have no problems. And
Yeah.
you know where I came from? And I ain't gonna say I grew up in the worst neighborhood in Brooklyn, but you
yeah.
know how bad Brooklyn was. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Real.
You in Crooklyn?
I've been thinking about that when like the big dogs be losing bread, like Warren Buffett. And I look at he lost $11 billion a day. I'm like,
With nothing.
how you wake up?
down,
And it's just
it-
like,
it's
do he
normal.
feel like it's 11,000, or is it like
If you wake up,
is it still 11 billion?
But my thing is this, man. If you wake up and you got breath in your body, the opportunity to be successful again is there.
Yeah.
So what's the worst you really can be is under the dirt.
Yeah,
If
I
you
just be
still
wondering if
here
they
to
have
make
that
it happen,
mindset or not.
You know what I'm saying? Like I could make it happen. Dang, I failed yesterday, but today another day where I can try to be successful in what I failed in. So if you look at it from that perspective, you still win.
I can speak from my perspective. I'll give you this, and I'll give you a story from a few years ago. And this is like humbling. So I think that they don't feel it the same way because Warren Buffett didn't earn $11 billion and then lose it. It was an investment. So it's like he understands what it is. His day is not impact. Warren Buffett never was like, you know what? I'm gonna take out $12 billion today out of my $90 billion. Like he couldn't even do that because if he pulled the money out, the stocks would drop. Like he couldn't even touch his money. So it's just like a concept, and that's what we were building on before.
Yeah.
So like it's not even. It's just like it's an idea.
Yeah,
right.
That's what it is.
So like one day I was gonna do something for Instagram. I was like, I'm gonna go to the bank. I'm gonna take out $100,000 cash. You know how hard it is to take out $100,000 cash?
Yeah.
They gotta get a Brinks truck. It takes 2 weeks. I was like,
yeah.
I don't want to do it no more.
and then they ask you,
The money's really not there.
No. So then the guy goes, what are you gonna do with the money? And I told him I'm gonna shoot a video, and he was like, yo, you know how much money it's gonna cost the bank to give you? Are you like for real? And I was like, yo, he was like, we gotta pay for it. I was like, that's all right. That might be a video I might put out. So when you see dudes with $1 million cash, whatever, unless they have in the cash business, they pay money to do that. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And then like Chase, if you put him on like 15,000 cash, they charge you a penalty. So like when you see a rapper, if he pulls up $1 million out of a bank and then puts $1 million back in, it might cost him $8,000 to $10,000 just to shoot that shot because the bank charges him to put the cash back in.
Black Youngster had that happen.
Yeah,
the police pull up with him outside.
I seen that.
Yeah.
I seen it.
So that's just something to know. So when I found out I had to pay, it was gonna cost me like $2,000 to flex on the gram, which my wife told me not to because it was stupid. But it wasn't that I was gonna flex the money. It was the point I was gonna make. But anyway, that even that, like I was like, I'm not spending 2 G's so some niggas could look at me with it. Like that, that's corny.
Yeah.
Once I found out I had to pay for it, I was like, no. So that didn't happen. So now here goes the second conversation.
That's why they broke.
Yeah, exactly. They do stupid stuff like that, trying to flex. So Floyd Mayweather got $100 million signing bonus when he fought Pacquiao. He supposedly made $400 million off the fight. Cool. After that fight, Floyd showed off a couple pieces of jewelry. He bought 3 $2 million bracelets. You Google it, $6 million bracelets. And I was like, yo, he's wildin'. Watch, he's wildin'. He made $400 million and he blew $6 million on just some bracelets. Yo, what? Okay, watch. At the time, I was making about $100,000 a year, and I just bought a $20,000 piece of jewelry.
Yeah.
I spent 20% of my income.
Yeah, who wildin'?
Floyd didn't even spend 1% of his income.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn. So that humbled me. Trying to hate on what he, because I was not a hater. I was like, damn, he's gonna go broke. And I was like, wait a minute. He spent, and then
we always counting their pockets, saying what they should have did and what we would do if we was there.
Yeah, I do that because I use it as teachable moments for kids. Like when you know what I'm saying, when like I was going, I like Jacob, put your daughter's name out there. I didn't want to do that. So like
good. She gonna come on here.
No, but you know, I just
I got
I'm a parent. You know, so anyway, so when your daughter was in the class, I was like, some of the classes was like, you know, because it's not about making money, and it's not even about keeping money. It's about growing money because we understand that money is more about the concept. In my personal opinion, I don't believe money is currency anymore. I believe money is debt. And that's why I feel like I win so fast because, see, you go to work to make money. Money's depreciating. That's like spending all your money on cars. You would tell somebody, oh, you're buying cars. That's a terrible idea. I don't make money. I make assets. So I put myself in a position to where the things that I'm doing is just I'm continuously creating streams. So like I don't worry about cash. I worry about my leverage. Yeah. Because it's a different concept. So like that's why like I'm okay with losing 600 bands because I know what my lifestyle costs. Right. And I know that that's a comfortable lifestyle. So every time I make, like, we just bought the hotel right around the corner.
Yeah, I remember.
You know what I'm saying? So, like,
hey, we gotta give it up to you for that, man.
He did that.
This dude just bought a hotel and breezed by it.
When I was business ethic, and he know that what y'all think is money is not money, it's fiat.
Yeah, it's
you ain't never looked at it. Yeah. You looked at the bills. See, when I was coming at, when you looked at the $2 bills that's no longer in circulation, if you looked at them, they said silver certificate. Then the bills that y'all had said promissory notes on. Right. Yeah. It's a promise to pay. It's a debt instrument. That's why I said for private and public debt, discharge it. You know what I'm saying?
So we don't have. So what people don't understand is like
you're going to work for debt.
It's probably going to be too much math to.
Yeah, don't give us a headache. Yeah. Hey, I left his class with a headache the first day. Yeah. Sheets of.
I'm pretty sure I would. Reach out. I'm pretty sure I would. Let me just. There's a lot to learn, bro.
I'll say this simple concept. Prior to COVID, you put $1,000 in the bank. the bank had to have a certain amount of money to back that money.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the fractional reserve system. Google it. Fractional reserve system. A fraction of the money had to be in reserves for every dollar you put in.
Right.
Because how do banks money? They use your money to lend it.
Mm-hmm.
What happened was during COVID, I believe it was 2021, they removed the fraction. So
I didn't know that.
that's who I am. I taught this to the kids. Your daughter might have been there for that class. I mean, not if she,
Yeah.
because when she flew in. But anyway, so we could put 50 G's in the bank altogether. The bank was supposed to have at least $500, right? 1% of that money. And they couldn't lend out more than the 40. See, this is what I get into the math. They couldn't lend out more money than they had. Just keep it simple.
Right.
Now, there could only be 50,000 in the bank, and the bank can write 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 million. It don't matter. As long as somebody comes in and says, I'm willing to pay the note back, they can continue to write the note. So the new, cause like Banks said, it's fiat. Fiat just means fake. It means God said, like let it be. That's what it means. Fiat means
Exactly. It's,
as God's will.
It's in, what's in Latin? It's in
It's-
Deborah,
Right, and it just means let it be. Let it be.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, that's all it means is let it be. It's God's will.
Yeah.
It's like good faith.
Yeah.
So you go in there, you take a VA loan, okay, $300,000. Oh yeah, okay. Well, now there's $300,000 in existence now because you
Right.
said you were gonna pay it. So it's fiat. It's fake. It's not. It doesn't,
Tell them that the fiat dollar is inflated.
well, that's
It's inflated by the what's the people over there, the Emirates, the Emirates.
Oh yeah. Oh, you talking about the Emirates in
Oh, the-
Dubai?
oh,
yeah,
Dubai.
we not
That's-
even going.
Oh,
my
okay.
bad.
Like, we lost
No,
it.
because then you know.
Yeah.
So what happens is, like the Emiratis, right? Now I ain't going because
Is that what they
I
call
want to
it?
go to Dubai. Yeah.
They going
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, like United
I got
Emirates.
business
Right
there.
now.
Yeah, I don't want
Possibly
to. I
not.
want to make it
Somebody
there.
from Dubai.
I have nothing bad to say about the Emiratis.
I don't have nothing to say
Right.
about my brothers over there. I'm just saying I know what's going on.
It's bad.
Yeah,
So what
yeah.
happens is, once we understand that the currency has changed, then we'll start learning to work for that currency. So when I talk to kids, or like when I was talk to adults, and I'm like, I want to get money. I want to get money, and I'm like,
Ain't no money.
that's worthless.
Yeah.
You want to get something that has no value. So you're so stuck on that you don't see that this is moving past you. And I don't know if that's
Multiple
a shame.
streams
but-
is the money.
and it,
The
right, and
multiple streams is the money.
Hey,
yeah, it's the what? All right, so it's
Hussain, quote the JC thing.
Wait.
Which one?
I
I
want.
can
One
do
where
it.
he said, "You say you got money, but I say you ain't got no me. I have no money." He said, "If you say you got money, show me your money, and I'll show you ain't got no money." Or something like that.
Yeah, I mean,
'Cause
like
there ain't no money.
It ain't. Yeah. So what?
So
I
with the multiple streams, wouldn't that be kind of like, you know what I'm saying? You creating your currency, but you creating it in other ways. Like
nah,
Like,
because
I mean, I don't-
because
I
I don't
don't-
live. All right, so let me try to explain it like this.
break that down for me.
All right. So today I went to a bank.
Okay.
I don't want to say too much, but I went to a bank today. Long story short, there might be an opportunity where I get a large line of credit. I could do whatever I want with that line of credit, and I don't pay taxes because a loan isn't taxable.
Oh wow.
So you
okay.
get up, you go to work 30%, 20%, depending on what state you live in, 40% of your money is already out the door. You're working for that.
Right.
I have history, credit, and assets. They'll go give me hundreds of thousands of dollars because I own something that's worth value.
Right. So they paying you for your value, really.
And I understand what's really valuable. See, people don't understand value. They think hard work, and they don't. So they're working towards getting the wrong thing. I'm working towards getting what I understand makes sense. So I'll give you a couple quick examples. Let's say I get $200,000 in credit card. People be like, "Yo, debt's bad." I'm like, "Bet, then don't get in debt." So watch. There's zero interest, and I flip it around. Long story short, to where I pull 20,000 off this card. Next month I pull 20,000 off this card. Next month I pull 20,000 off this card. Pay all my bills with it. Keep going, and then pull another card just to pay back the minimums on that. Got 60 bands. I can do whatever I want with, tax free. And people are like, "Damn, but you got to pay that back." Okay. Now what if I told you I take 60 out and I go buy a property that's gonna flip and bring me 80? Now I didn't work for that. My contractors do that. Tenants pay the mortgages off because I get that 60, I get that 80. I go to a bank, they give me 100. The money pays back all these loans. Now I got a loan that's 20,000 tax free. That's called the Bird method.
So you just made 20 G's off
I
the real.
didn't. I didn't. I made 20 G's in debt. I made 100 G's in debt. So I technically don't have any money. So I don't pay taxes. I still have a debt.
Okay.
If you ever ask Hussain, he always say, "I'm broke, baby. I ain't got no money."
You remember what I was
I don't
telling
have
you?
money.
Okay.
I don't own anything.
Remember when Mitch walked in the store? He said, "I'm broke, baby."
Yeah.
Corey, remember I was telling you this? I was trying to explain this to you before. You know what I'm saying?
What was that? What did you say?
Like when I was saying that
Need another water?
money is not the money. Like when you look at the ticker
I'm
signs,
so
and you see
thirsty.
all
I
that,
try to drink with the top on.
look, when you look at the ticker signs and all that stuff, it shows you see all that negative. That's the money.
Yeah. It's so debt is.
It's
the new
weird.
cur-
So it's
the
like
new
debt
currency.
is
It's opposite.
so debt really is the money now.
That is a new currency because
Yeah.
what happens is, and one of my shout out to Justin, one of my mentors, he kind of explained this, but he's a little old school. He don't like that, but he explained it like this.
They all gone.
And you can answer this, and who do you know that has saved $100,000? I've never done it. I've never saved $100,000.
Nobody personally.
Right.
The most I've ever probably saved was like 15, 20 bands back in the days when I
Right.
was like young.
Right.
Yeah, 20.
Right.
I'd never, and it took me a duration of time. Over time, all these things.
Yeah.
It took forever.
Right.
But how easy is it to invest and make $100,000? It's way easier.
Right.
But where does that come from? It comes from debt. So what happens is you're competing against my leverage by going to work. I make $80, bro. I go overtime. I get
Yeah,
120 an
can't
hour.
Right.
I said, all right, cool. How many hours can you work?
Yeah. You gonna
can't-
burn out.
You can't compete with me because
You're already in debt.
I have instruments, and as long as I don't spend the money that I'm making, if I continue to live like this, I can grow my money faster and faster, and then invest more and then grow it faster and faster. And then when I'm ready, then I could go do something
You
nice.
still not overworking yourself. Like
I don't
am.
work. I don't have a job.
So
You know what I did today?
So it's basically like what you're doing is working for you, pretty much. Where you
Right,
don't even got to worry
because I
about.
understand the real currency.
Right. Right.
So what I'm saying, like, let me tell you what I did today. First off, I got a call. I don't know why my ring was on. I woke up too early, 8 in the morning. I go to bed like 6 in the morning every day. And I took a phone call. I was playing video games. I wanted to take a nap. I went to a bank. I came back. I ended up with a new client. Went home, had lunch, came here. I won't say how much money I made today, but I guarantee
That's crazy.
But I guarantee you, most Americans, what they make in a month, ain't what I made today.
That's crazy,
And that's what I did
bro.
today. And you know what I'm gonna do tomorrow?
Wow.
Same thing.
That's the
I'm
cloth
gonna
talk
hang out.
right
I'm gonna
there.
hang out with my wife all day. I'm gonna
Yeah.
chill. I might check some email.
Mhm.
I'm gonna make more money than most Americans make in a month tomorrow.
That's man. That's like boom.
Hey man,
Because I
this was
understand what we're doing.
he be blowing my mind with like.
He got the formula, y'all. He got the
Yeah,
formula.
Yeah.
talking to Hussain, man, just makes your mind like open
Yeah.
up. You just go home and be like,
You know, you hear the name. you hear the name. Hussain, like who is insane?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and that so here goes the point
Y'all
about
insane.
doing that is like that's not a flex, because see, a flex would be like, yo, I'm getting it and then move on.
Mhm.
I'm saying this is what I'm doing. Come do it with me and let me show you how to do it.
yeah,
And then so what happens is, and we go back to mindset, and again, I ask everybody in the room, you know people like this. Yo, you see my resume, you see my results, you see me doing this for years, you seen the cars, you seen the jewelry. Y'all don't see the vacations because I don't post my personal life, but you could imagine. Some people like, I might be like, yo, I just came back, yo, look what I did. But that's
Yeah.
not for the gram, because you don't need to know when I'm not home.
yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? And I'm consistent, award winning, so you know I'm trustworthy. But you won't invest because you're like, yo, it's got to be something wrong.
Right.
You're the
Yeah.
person that found $1,000 and is expecting something bad to happen. And then somebody who's confident and understands whatever is like, it's a no-brainer. He told me if I give him $1,200 today, he's guaranteeing me $3,000 to $5,000 every year just in tax strategy alone. And then you roll that into investments and then it explodes.
So you mess with the stocks too?
I don't do stocks because I can't control the money.
So you don't
Uh,
pay
Yeah.
closing.
No. So Tesla, Elon Musk, Elon Musk lost $80 billion because of Twitter.
Yeah.
Not because of the quality of this product, because of his political stance.
Right.
His stock went from, I think it was $400 down to like $100 something.
Yeah.
He was the richest man in the world, and because he pissed some people off, he's not the richest man in the world.
The next morning when you wake
The next
up.
morning.
Yeah.
So like, I can't invest my money in an A1 stock, and then the CEO of Amex is caught with a 13-year-old girl, and then like,
Yeah.
I can't put my
That's
money in
right, yeah.
something like that. I need to know that my investments are secure.
Yeah.
So I put my money in things that, one, I could control, and things that, again, I know real estate is very safe and secure.
Right.
I put my money in government things. Yeah, it's a slow grind, but I understand that 3% is better than 0%.
Right.
And then I'm flipping it back, and I'm not paying taxes because I have all these loans, and you got mad debt. I'll pull out. I'll show you my credit score right now. Like, I have 800 credit score. I have no debt. People like, how you don't have debt? That's the secret to the sauce, because Hussain don't own anything. That's the secret to the
Wow.
to the business game.
He drops some
You
jewels.
say you flip real estate?
Nah, he does.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
he do it. Yeah.
Oh, so you know what's up. So you know how to get in and buy property without money.
Yeah, I don't
I
spend.
already know you do.
I use OPM. I don't ever spend my own money.
Oh, yeah, other people.
I'd never put my own money into any of these businesses.
Yeah, I need to talk to you at it.
Man, we gotta have like 2-3 episodes.
Yeah, we're
with
gonna
you,
have to
man.
do another one.
This
I-
hour
right
went
now.
so fast,
It did.
and we ain't even really scratched the surface yet.
Yes.
I come back.
Yeah,
sure.
but
We
I
definitely gotta have
really
you back.
appreciate both of y'all guys, man,
Yeah.
for dropping the jewels, and it's so much more we can talk about and so much we learning right
Yeah.
now, man. And
We
I'm
open
learning
his
a lot.
head up. That's gonna.
Yeah, it's
you
gonna be
gonna
something else.
You might
know
need
what I'm
about 5-6 episodes.
saying? Definitely, definitely.
So we can dissect each thing. But was there anything you want to leave the people with? Where can they find you if they want to reach out and learn real estate or get in the game?
Everything is HA, like my initials.
Mm-hmm.
Hussain Abdullah. HA Homes, HOMES, US for United States. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Subscribe to the channel, like, follow, all at the website. You can sign up. You know, learn how to get this new currency, and I promise you, it'll change your life if you have the right mindset.
Man, I just want to say this. The first part of us uplifting humanity, man, is we have to be willing and open to give them the game that we got so they can get to the top. We can't hold it to ourselves. You know what I'm saying? That's what we gotta. That's the first part of doing that. We gotta be willing to share with people, man.
You got to give it to keep it.
Yeah, there we go.
Sure.
There we go.
With that, man, we appreciate y'all tapping in with us. We're gonna be back on here next Thursday live.
You already know
You know
how
what I'm
it
saying? We're
goes,
gonna have a new
man.
episode, and I appreciate both of y'all for stopping
Sure.
through, man, dropping them gems.
Y'all stay tapped in, man.
All right, y'all stay tapped in. Appreciate y'all.
Peace.